This is Ebonygeek. You're always welcome to join me in expanding your knowledge base. Comments are always welcome, and please subscribe. Hello, my name is Ebonygeek45, and today is a great day to learn something. And what we're going to be learning today is about variables. Variables are actually a way to improve on your coding and optimize your coding. As you remember, we had our setup, and our voice setup is going to run once. It's going to set our pin mode for our Arduino. It's going to set pin 13 as output. So that's going to tell it that 13 on our Arduino we want to be output. Simply put, it's going to run once, and that's what it's going to stay as long as this program is running. So we have our pin 13 that we want to run on high. Okay, so we're telling it we want that 13 pin, we want it to run high, so we want it to be on. Okay, and we're going to go down here again, and we're going to tell it, well, about 13 again, we want it to run low, we want it to be off. Okay, so then we're going to go back up, and this is going to be a loop. So we're going to go back up, and we're going to say, well, 13 we want it on for 1 second, 13 we want it off for 1 second, then back up, 13 we want it on, and it's going to go on and on and on, unlike our setup that only runs once. Okay, now that's a lot of times you say, well, we want 13 to do this, we want 13 to do that, we want 13 to do this, we want the okay, so what we can do, okay, is we can improve on our reusability for our pin 13. So, and this is exactly what I mean. We want to make pin 13 a reusable variable for the LED. Okay, now to say that, you would ask, what is a variable? Well, variable is actually a storage spot set up in your program. So it's storage set up in your program. And for the programmers out there and programming enthusiasts, I am no way saying I'm a professional. I'm just trying to explain it the quick, dirty way. And to me, it's storage. Okay, and you can have different types of storage. We're going to use int. And int means that it has a value that it is going to return, and it's an int type. It's going to be a whole number. So then we have our int, and we're going to name it LED. Why? Because that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with an LED, so that's highly descriptive, and that's the name we're choosing for it. It could really be any name you want. Okay, so then we're going to equal it to or assign it to our pin 13. And then we'll close it up with a semicolon. So that's how we would assign pin 13 to the name LED, which is an integer. Now that would stand to figure that all of the pins that we're going to be working on in the Arduino is going to be type int. Okay, we would name it whatever we want, and then we would assign it to whichever pin we're using. Equally, you could go int LED2 2 equals 7. Okay, that's the same. So we will be saying that for pin 7 we want it to be named LED2, and it's an integer. So all of the pins that we use on the Arduino are going to be integers. So that's what we need to know right now. Okay, now with that said, how do we go down to our functions and use our newly made variable? Well, we don't need to put 13 there now because we have it assigned, okay, to our name LED. So what we want to do now is we want to put LED. Okay, So now that we have our pin 13 assigned to LED, we could just say LED, wherever we mean 13 to be. And so where we see that 13, we're going LED. Okay, I hope you beginning to see where I'm going with this. So that 13, LED. Okay, so we're using the LED variable everywhere we hit the number 13. Okay, now say we come back to this code and we decide we want to use the blinky, but we don't want it to be on pin 13. Okay, before we did this, we would have had to change it here, and change it here. Okay, this last one, we would have had to change it in all three spots. Okay, but now that we have it set as a variable and we know that our pin 13 is our LED, and so every time you see the LED in statements, that means it's our pin 13. Okay, we could track it down up here to know it's pin 13. Now let's say we decided we want our LED to be on pin 7 now. We don't want it to be on pin 13 anymore. We don't want it to be hooked into the one with the resistor. So we want it to just be hooked into another one so that we could use it, well, say for an upcoming tutorial we're doing, we probably are going to be using a different pin. So let's say we wanted to use it on 7. Okay, so let's change it to 7 up here. And the beauty of this is all you have to do is change it here. All we have to do is change it here. And everywhere that we had our LED is gonna now be 7. And as you can see, as we hover over it, it's telling you. Okay? Alright. So we want it to be 13 though right now. So we're gonna change it back to 13. Okay. And let's go down. We hover over it. It's telling you it's 13 now. That's a very simplified way of explaining variables to you, but it's pretty important because, like I said, every pin that we're going to use on the Arduino is going to be an int type. Okay, it'll be whatever name you decide to use for it. Let's say, like, if we were doing our ping sensor, then we would name it ping. So if we int ping equals A0, I believe, or A something. Okay, whichever pin analog pin we decide to put our ping on, then that will be what we would use. Just giving you a real world example of what we can do here and how we would name it. That's a very basic way of offering reusability to our code. Instead of having to change it here, here, and here, because we have it set up in a variable, and the variable LED is the container for 13, and we put 13 in there, so everywhere we have our LED has 13 in it. That's a way of offering reusability to the code, because all we have to do is change it once here and it'll change everywhere else in the code. That's a very important thing to get into your head or to get under your skin. For variables though, we also have a void type just like here, and also we have, like I said, we have the double, we have the void, there's the tell me I don't forgot all of them, but there's more examples for variables. You also have what's called a string. So variables come in different flavors, and a string is actually for words. Okay, you have your char, which is for a letter. So you have different types of variables that you could use, but for our Arduino and our pins, we're just going to be using int. pretty simple, pretty easy, pretty straightforward. If you want to know more about variables, check out my earlier tutorials. I explained about C++ and a whole lot of other concepts. And they do apply here, it's just that they apply in their own way. If you do want to check that out, check out one of my older videos for variables. I explain it in depth. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to deal with the int variables. Have a nice rest of your day. Happy coding, happy tinkering, and today was a great day to learn something. Bye-bye. I'm Ebonygeek, and I hope that the information provided has been helpful to you. Please remember to subscribe. Happy building and happy coding.